only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the craze. If you are an independent, catch the craze. Making moves on your own, catch the craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the craze. Join the movement, catch the craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the craze. Oh. Alrighty there. Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man, Vera, and I am with me. Anyway, so tonight is a special edition from my boy Dustin Brunell. We're going to be having a one-on-one conversation about his comic book, Babes, Gore, and Dinosaurs on Kickstarter. It is the last 30 hours. He's killing it. It's amazing how far he's come from the first time he's been on the show. So it's going to be great to talk to him about the success of his campaign and hopefully get some pledges to support it. Because I believe that 5,700, get him to that 6,000 mark. Who knows what can happen tonight? So if you're out there right now and you're chomping on those chops, you know, whether you're having some Mickey D's or you're having some biscottis that your mom made and you're at the dinner table and you're getting ready to watch What If, put that aside. You can always go back to What If. Join us and get ready to ask some questions. I'm hoping that you join us tonight. Earlier today, this afternoon, I was online and I was doing a commission piece. This is it right here. Let's see if I can get the lighting for you guys. Oof, no bueno. Oh, there it is. Bam. All right, there it is. All right, so this is a commission piece. Or eating Fuddruckers. Yeah, you motherfuckers. And so here's the commission piece that I was doing earlier today. The lighting's a little off, but I got this big old light. Let me see. Oh, there it is. There you go. Like, get that light out of the way. So I just got to add some more blacks and frame it and ship it off to that lucky customer that's getting that. So it'll be shipped out on Saturday. Kickstarter updates for everybody for Forbidden. I just started receiving. Dang, I should have brought it up with me. I just started receiving the stuff from the printers. So I got the trading cards today. The books should be arriving next week, and everything should be getting in my hands next week. So again, from the moment I get everything, it'll be a 48-hour turnaround into your hands. Now, with that said, for those of you who forgot or missed the Kickstarter, there's still 30. It's like, you know, Dustin and I are on the same clock. There's still 30 hours left on Indiegogo to pledge to Forbidden and get your copy of issue 1 on Indiegogo. So I'm going to post a link in the chat, and so you still can get it on Indiegogo. The Indiegogo campaign, which is the catch-up campaign to the Kickstarter, because there were a few people on Indiegogo that just would not go over the Kickstarter. So that's why I did the backup campaign, and now it's available. So there's 30 hours left. I'll pledge tonight. Let's close this out with a bang. And the good thing about it is, at the end of the campaign, all the Indiegogos will be shipping at the same time with the Kickstarter. So everything ships out next week. So no one's going to be waiting past September, which is going to be cool. So George is not here tonight because George records on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And so I decided to come online and do this impromptu. Michael San Martino's in the audience. Just want to shout him out. And, you know, really considering changing up my mics because my mics be acting up and I don't understand. So I'm a little tired. See, the door just opened. There's ghosts. There's ghosts. You just saw it. You witnessed it. I'm going to put this on TikTok. There's a ghost. Actually, these little gremlins. My dogs They're escape artists. They just broke up, climbed up the stairs. I have a gate and I have a net on the staircase, and those little buggers still hop the fence just to get up to my office. That's a good question. I didn't simultaneously launch Kickstarter and Indiegogo. I launched the Indiegogo after I got feedback from people that said they just won't go to Kickstarter, and that's the reason why. And it wasn't that many people. It was a handful, and so I said, all right, let me just do a backup campaign. And if you looked at the Indiegogo, there's no bells and whistles like the Kickstarter was. So it's a good question for the launch in November 1st for Forbidden number 2. Whether or not I do it simultaneously, Indiegogo. Maybe I'll do an Indiegogo a 2-week one while I'm doing a 4-week one simultaneously on Kickstarter. So this way they run concurrent. And so this way anybody who's not willing to switch over, because just people have their preferences. So that is a good question. I will look into that, and maybe ask that cool question. Because I'm also considering, because issue number 3, I'm going to say the third issue number 2, I got to stop confusing people because I confuse myself. Issue number 2, it's even more pages than issue number 1. Issue number 1 is 27 pages. Issue number 0 was 16 because it was the intro. But issue number 2 is even more pages. I believe it's 32 pages. So I'm thinking of maybe doing a mini graphic novel for the campaign in November. Put them all 3 into one book. Give 2 options: get the floppy number 2 or get the collected. And then the second round, do it as a collective, and then just do one big conglomerate. So we'll see. So there's a lot of things I'm thinking about for that. 3 o'clock schoolyard. You and me, homeboy. You and me. That's it. That's it. Wise guys. Hey. Whoop, 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 whoop. So yeah. This whole crowdfunding game, I'm still trying to get the pulse on it. There's a lot of guys that have mastered the art of crowdfunding. I'm still a novice in the game. Still trying to figure this out because I still do things on grassroots style. So this weekend we have other indie guests. So Sunday we have a special show. It's pre-recorded. We have another guest on Sunday. He also has a crowdfunding campaign. And Wednesday we have another show. Next week there's several shows. So just had a lot of cats hit us up that have crowdfunding campaigns, and we just try to fit people in. And so we did some pre-recorded shows that'll be airing next week and this weekend. And Saturday, I'm going to be drawing. And this time I'm going to draw at night. So I've been drawing during the day. And I noticed that there's not many people. Most people are working during the day. They're not a brokepreneur like me. And so I'm Saturday. I'm probably going to go online Saturday night and drawing. If anybody's out there, and if you got a camera and a pen and you want to draw with me, and I'll send you the link, and you can just put the camera up and we'll just draw. So it's an open invite. Anybody out there who's an artist that wants to draw and just chat online Saturday night, most likely 8 p.m. Usually that's a good time where most people are done eating and doing the chores. Just let me know, and I will send you a link Saturday. So it's an open invite to join me as I get my groove on. So I'm going to post the link also for Babes, Gore, and Dinosaurs right here in the chat. Bang. As I get ready to bring in my boy, Dustin Brunell, who's going to be talking to me about this new concept, because he had greed. He's got a lot of things going on, He's trying to take over the world. What's up with that? Got a lot of questions for him. So we're going to bring him in a second. We're going to cut to Forbidden, and we'll be back with Dustin.
We're back with another segment of Forbidden. In issue number 1, we find young Spartacus challenging his father, Lord Vox, leader of the Nocturnals, about this curse, forcing his father to imprison his son. Well, young Spartacus escapes with the aid of Arius, his love interest, committing the ultimate sin against his family and spilling blood as they race to the surface, trying to challenge this curse. In issue number 1. What? Oh, wait, you haven't picked up issue number 1. Well, now you can. Run over to Indiegogo and get your hands on issue 0 and 1 and find out, did they make it to the surface? What happens next?
Why is my screen all dark? Let me turn the light on.
What up?
What's up, dude? Hold on, let me fix this shit.
Que pasa?
Yeah, brother. How's things?
Things are good in Texas.
Right on. Yeah, the move, man. How'd it go?
It was special. It was special, that's for sure. But it was good. Me and my boy drove for 34 hours, and in a truck full of vomit. My dogs all got sick. And
oh no, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, all 4 dogs got sick. Your car's sick, and then I got a gremlin behind me. All 4 dogs got sick and threw up. One of them refused. I stopped 7 times. Refused to go potty, and so he did it inside the car.
That poor thing.
I thought it was Jonathan. I was like, "Yo, Jonathan, is that you? What's that smell?" And
no. Bro, you can't be doing that.
Yeah. And so in the middle of the highway, I had to clean stuff up, and I had insomnia because I could never sleep because the dogs were so sick. And but we made it. We got here 34 hours, 1 in the morning, and then slept 5 hours, and then unloaded the trucks. Yeah,
whew, man. We did. We came to Tennessee. I was not having any of it. Right. It was like, because it's only like it's like a 9-hour drive, depending from where we live to here. And, which isn't bad at all. But the thing is, I had 4 storage units of comic books and action figures and all kinds of other shit to move.
Nice.
And I was like, I'm not doing this time. I'm over moving shit. I don't ever want to move anything again. So I called those dudes that did pods, right? And I had them bring like 4 of those fucking pods out and just drop them off in front of the storage units.
Wow.
Filled them up and was like, take them on, dude. And I'll drive, I'll drive the family and we'll be okay. And it turned out it was not as nice as I thought it would be doing that, because my daughter had to have so much stuff in the car. And then the 1-year-old was sitting in the car. And then it was like, the prairie dogs, the dogs, the 2 cats, all in different kennels in the car. And it was like, bro, bananas.
Yes.
It's cool though. It's good moves, man. It's good moves. It's positive stuff.
Yeah, I love it out here. The weather the first couple of days was real, but now we're starting the fall temperature starting to kick in. Today was nice and cool. Yesterday was the first time I actually left the house. I went to Walmart. And,
there you go. Well, I mean, I should own stock in Walmart, to be honest with you. Like 2 or 3 times a week, I should own stock.
Yeah, I was just happy that Walmart had a wine section. I was like, there you go, I'm good.
Right? Yeah. Catch myself a little bit. I'm with you.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. How funny.
I don't miss the East Coast at all. I was born and raised. And I was ready for this, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes we gotta get away. You know what I mean? Yeah. We gotta get away from what we're used to and what we're. The only thing I miss about Florida is the water. That's about it. Yeah. And we have a boat. I've got a 25-foot center console here, but
nice.
It's like
big time.
Yeah, well, it's like I don't know where to go. I don't have nobody to go with.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like my kids don't want to go. The wife don't want to go. My dad's working all the time. My sister's husband, he don't want to go. And I'm just like, whatever. So I guess it'll sit. You know what I mean? Until I figure out, until one of the nephews gets old enough to go or something. You know what I mean? Because my ass will end up drunk and falling out of a boat somewhere. So I don't need any of that.
Yeah. I'm 4 houses down from the lake. I don't have lakefront, but I can see it from the front of my house, but I can walk to the lake. And it's beautiful.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
For sure. I love that, man.
Yeah.
I love that. Those little nuances, man, make such a difference. Like we've got our house, and then you've got a 1/4 of an acre, and then my mom and dad's house is behind ours.
Right.
So, and I haven't lived by my parents since I was 16. That was almost 20 years ago. So it's like real nice to be my kids be able to walk, right a little ways to go to their grandparents and see what they're doing and stuff,
Wow.
So I dig that.
Nice,
It's not great all the time when my mom comes up out of the blue and asks for shit or scares the shit out of me when I'm using the grill or something that I wasn't expecting, but whatever.
Right. Nice.
It's cool. It's cool though. It's super dope.
So I mean, you've had a lot going on since we had you on last. I mean, this is, how many projects is this now for you?
It's my third ongoing IP. All my books are bi-monthly, so I'm coming up on issue 4 of The Listener, issue 2 Agreed, BGD is on right now, so this is my third IP, but I think it'll be my 8th book if you look at since October of last year.
Wow.
So yeah, it's banging, man. It's banging. It's definitely,
killing it. No, so, but there's a big difference. 'Cause when we first had you on, you had Greed, and you, while you didn't make your goal, it was a struggle to make it. This one seems to be flawless. Like, you seem to like killed it.
Man.
So
we funded in less than 25 minutes on this one.
That's just crazy. So and so we're gonna get into your secret sauce, but before that, anybody who's new to you, I just want to talk about you. I know who you are, I know what you do, but some of the others might not know. So what do you do? Who are you?
I am. First off, that's mad funny. I didn't realize we were live. That's awesome.
Only for you,
I'm all over here talking cordial and whatnot.
Because you got 30 hours left. So I don't do this for everyone, Dustin.
Yeah.
So.
I appreciate it. I'm a normal dude, right? I'm a dad. I got 2 kids. I'm happily married. Been married for almost 16 years now. I just moved to Tennessee from Florida, not maybe a year and a half ago. I owned a brick and mortar. I worked as a private police officer for several years. Some stuff happened. My wife was like, yeah, that's not a thing no more. We need to do something else. So we opened a brick and mortar, had a brick and mortar for a couple years. It really wasn't for us.
Right.
Because the amount of time that I had to put in was more than my other job. And that was the biggest problem we had before. We're putting in 80-hour weeks and stuff like that. And it was too much to be a dad, a husband, and not be able to be home.
Right.
For me anyway, and I respect the folks that can do it. It was just too much for us. And so when we moved to Tennessee, my uncle died. And when he died, I felt real, real lost. And I put out The Listener. And it was loosely based on him and what he went through in the military and stuff. And then Greed spun off of that, man. The first issue of The Listener was hard, because nobody knew who we were. Nobody knew anything about it. That was October last year. The second book came out, did okay. Greed smoked The Listener. Smoked The Listener. I funded that in like 3 weeks. And then it was like, man, look, we're killing it. And then I write a lot, like a ridiculously, it's nuts. Some people have like a writer's block.
Right.
I need like a writer's warehouse. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's when it's just a fun conversation that I was having with some people, and all of a sudden it was like, man, I've wrote these serious books, like these super serious dark books. And then it was like, what have I not touched on? And I was like, man, I really like dinosaurs, man. Like, I really like dinosaurs. And now that little dude's getting older, it's like he's starting to see dinosaurs and dig dinosaurs. So
right.
I was like, all right, well, we'll do dinosaur book, right? And everybody thought I was kidding. Like, everybody thought it was a joke. And then everybody thought it was porn. And then they had to get past that because it's not. But everybody thought it was.
They're kind of voluptuous, I'm just saying.
Yeah, hey, man.
You
know what I mean?
He's got the Dolly Parton-esque stuff going on.
It's pretty ladies going on. So to be fair, the main character owns a strip club. So it's a very adult book, as are my other books, so it's just a different direction for me.
Right.
Like, my other books were very spiritual, into horror and stuff. And this is like, I grew up in the 80s with Schwarzenegger and Stallone and Van Damme, and I was like, man, I don't have anything like that.
Right.
I need to put something like that out, right? So, Babes Going Dinosaurs, man. It's about a dude named Ricky who's retired mercenary.
Wait, what's his name?
Ricky.
Okay, I thought you said
R.I.
Winky. I was like,
Yeah,
wait,
Ricky.
hold on. You said Babes and Winky? I was
No,
like,
no. That's different. But what kind of book are you writing, dude? No, Ricky. R-I-K-K-I. It's short for Ricketus.
Okay.
And one of the other main characters can't pronounce it, so she started calling him Ricky, and that's what we kind of run with for the most, because it's easier to say. But it's mad fun. That all runs the Ricky Tikki Tavi thing, which is one of my favorite folk
of course,
tales.
yes.
So we play into that in the story. Like, he doesn't like being called by his full name. It's almost like they're married, but they're not married. So whenever she's in the shit, she actually says it, and he's like, "Oh, I better get serious now." You know what I mean? So,
Right.
but yeah, it's they own this bar called Piece of Tail, and
Nice.
it's super chill and whatnot until this chick comes in looking for a job. And she comes in looking for a job, and what we have it's a very big world that we're creating. It's so much bigger than this one issue or this one series. You know what I'm saying? And this will be my Marvel universe, this particular book. I'm probably, so we're at 28 team members right now in our team. So
wow.
we're on course now to have 7 books out running continuously this time next year.
7 individual titles?
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Absolutely, for sure.
Wow.
So, but yeah, so she comes in looking for a job, and she's got all this baggage she brings with her. Because we have a term in our series, it's called tank bred, and it's exactly what it sounds like. She's literally genetically bred in a tank by scientists, and it's illegal now, but the mob is still doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? They run the show, they run that part of the city, they still do their thing. So she's running from them because, you know, you're born an adult and you're given no knowledge. You're just supposed to do what you're told, and it's been outlawed, you know, but here she is not knowing anything, but she's been treated really poorly and knows that that's not how it's supposed to be. Right. So she's run to the, you know, the bowels of the city, you know, to get away from it. And everybody talks about how nice Ricky is. So she's run to this bar looking for help, basically. And yeah, she brings the shit to him. So
she brings the heat.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. So where does this idea come from?
It was, so I read a lot, right? I like to read a lot, ridiculous amounts. And I was a big fan of Jurassic Park as a kid. Michael Crichton was one of my favorite writers. Backer wrote a book called Raptor Red that was from a Utah Raptors perspective, and I always thought it was really interesting. But like I said, my son was getting a little older, and he started talking about dinosaurs, seeing dinosaurs and stuff. And, you know, Land Before Time was back on TV at my house again, and, you know, all these little nuances. And I picked up a book by my buddy Ethan Amanat, really, really good dude. I hadn't known him before I read his book. And he wrote about like soldiers in the dealing with in the Cold War, dealing with Russia and what was going on, and how they built this machine and dinosaurs were coming through this portal. It's a really interesting book. And it got me thinking. I was like, man, here we are. It keeps getting thrown in my face. Every time I turn around, I had made a joke about it, and here it is. Like, here it is again and again and again.
Right.
And I was like, okay, cool. I loved Ninja Turtles as a kid. Like, I love Ninja Turtles.
Yes,
and man, huge fan of Street Sharks when Street Sharks came out, and, you know, Gargoyles on Disney and Mighty Ducks, man. Yes. Mighty Ducks on Disney and stuff. And I was like, man, this is so good.
Right.
These anthropomorphic characters are so good. And society is so different now that they're more accepting of things like that, you know? And I was like, I have a Lola Bunny tattooed on my calf, like a legit Lola Bunny tattooed on my calf.
Nice.
If I can't put out some cute looking creatures in my book, there's a problem. I'm not doing it right. You know what I mean? So I wanted to create these beautiful characters, and I wanted you to think, though, my books are all real deep. You know my stuff. My books are real deep. So it was like, hey, can I make you fall in love with something that's not human? Can I make you think it's pretty? Can, you know, like AI. It's a very steampunk type of book as well. So can you fall for an AI? Can you believe it's real? You know what I mean? All these little nuances, you know, that I like testing the boundaries, you know, of our feelings, of our perceptions, you know. So yeah, it's a real deep book, man. We get involved with, we've got serial killers that roam the streets. We got all kinds of craziness going on. The art's beautiful. It's mad fun. You know, I brought David over to color. I brought him over from Greed. So, and he came from the listener to Greed. Now he's working on BGD too. So his colors are stunning.
Nice.
Really good dude. And you've got Bladen Hunter doing interior art for this series, and his stuff's beautiful. I mean, it's really cool.
Oh, his name is Bladen Hunter?
Bladen Hunter.
Okay, I thought you said Blade and Hunter. I thought it was two people.
Oh, sorry. No, it's Bladen Hunter
cool.
is his pen name.
No problem. Nice.
I struggle remembering that, to be honest with you, because I'm always so honest. I'm like, hey, look, I want to use, you know, and you're like, oh shit, can't use his name.
How much paper does he use to make those big circles?
Right.
Yeah, but I just want to acknowledge that, you know, we got a couple of characters in the chat. We got Johnny Syfax in there talking about I'm looking like Sam Selleck, and you have Michael San Martino saying Turtles sing it only for you, Michael San Martino. They're the world's most fiercest fighting team. They're heroes in the half shell and they green. There it is. That's all he did.
You got it. Holy cow, is amazing.
Yeah. So but go ahead. So how'd you meet this talent that's drawing babes for you?
My buddy Jim Noble owns Totally Rad Comics, and when I started talking about BGD, people were like, is it connected to Greed? Because Greed's connected to the listener. You know what I mean? Is it in the same world? And I was like, oh man, I really don't. At the time, okay, being real, like new to this genre type of thing, I was like, man, I really don't want people assuming that was not something I wanted to happen, because it's a very different type of book, you know. So it was like, oh well, let's see what else we can do. So I asked Jim, I was like, hey, can we put it under the Totally Rad banner? You know what I mean? Just so there's no confusion or anything like that. And he was super cool with it. He was like, yeah, you know, bring it over to Totally Rad, do what you want to do. And he knew my concept, and he introduced me to Bladen, who is such a cool guy. And it was like, we hit it off like that. I have been really blessed when it comes with team members. I really have. I've had some bumps in the road just like anybody else, but for the time I've been around, we've accomplished a lot, you know. And to be, when you come up with a sequential artist, and right now I'm hiring 4 of them, so that's a big deal right now. People are talking about. So if you guys see that, or you watch the show and you're interested in doing, you know, babes, gore, and dinosaurs type of deal, let me know. We'll help you out. But when you bring on a sequential artist, a lot of people are like, they have a hard time having the same vision. I've been very blessed with having people that I literally feel like it's like that Indiana Jones, where they've got the jello and the monkey brain. Right. You know, they're just like eating my ideas out of my head. And it's so good. You know, it's so much fun, because it's like, hey, look, what do you think about that? And they're like, I'm already on it. And you're just like, shut up. You know, that's dope. How do you, you know what? Yeah. You know, it's cool because these guys are on another level. Like once you start getting in there, and you're getting in there, and you've been working with it a little bit, and it's like dough. You're molding these pieces, and you're putting these books together. I mean, you do it yourself. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You're building these things. But when these cats come in and they've been doing it a little while, you can tell the difference between the guys that are getting into it, the new artists that want to be somewhere and they're trying their best. But then you've got like the semi-pro guys, just like Ball. You know, you got the semi-pro guys that are coming in. And a lot of these guys are bangers, you know what I mean? But they just haven't been picked up by the right team yet, you know? And then you've got your pro guys too that are like, man, I can always use a little bit on the side. You know what I mean? A little bit of side action. Yeah. So when you start getting into it more and people start seeing that you've got more and more books out, you start grabbing the attention of these cats. They're like, oh man, I know I'm going to get paid. I know the book's going to be good, you know, so I'll come in and work. And that's how it was with Bladen. He's a semi-pro dude, super cool. and you know, the image is there, man. And we've got some. If you go to the Kickstarter now, you can see some pages that are on it.
Yeah,
and it's pretty work, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we brought ES over.
Who's that?
You know, so ESK is our letterer from. He worked on Greed. He worked on The Listener. Well, he still works on Greed and The Listener. So now he's on all 3 IPs with us. So, you know, it's really cool to be able to have a group of people that all get along and can mesh.
It makes a big difference. I mean, I think when you have that synergy, it doesn't feel like work, because independent comic book creation is tough enough as it is, and if you don't have that chemistry, it can make it frustrating, you know,
sure.
and make you not want to do it. And so when you have people that are on the same page, it makes a difference.
Absolutely.
Your cat wants to go outside.
Yeah, she's like, or he, like, dude. I mean, let me let him out real quick. I didn't even know you could hear him. I was like, shut up.
No,
Be quiet.
one of the comments was oh, the dog wants to go too. He said, let's go play. We're going to the park.
Take a break for it.
Yes, they
Get on out. Yeah, it really does. It's made such a difference for me. And like now, I'm working with folks now that are not. It's not just us building them now. It's them building us as well. You know, and that's such an amazing feeling, because, like I said, we're on track for 7 books by June next year, ongoing.
By June next year. So you've already established 3. So you have 4 more in the pipeline by June.
Absolutely.
And now, and every single one of them has a different illustrator.
So the cool thing about that is they do.
Wow.
And like I mentioned, I'm in the process of finding 3 to 4 more right now. I have a really cool way of doing that here shortly.
Right.
I can't drop that on you guys just yet. But by the end of the year, around the time that you guys, my anniversary of coming into this industry is October, the end of October this year, will be my first year in the industry.
Yeah.
I'll be able to share so much more, and you guys will know so much more, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, so I've got BGD, but BGD is going to become a blanket title now by the middle of next year. So there'll be other books with the subtitles for their own series, you know,
Right.
just like X-Force, you know what I mean? Or, you know, Uncanny X-Men versus regular X-Men issues, and da-da-da-da, you know,
Right.
Spider-Man and 2099, you know, so on and so forth.
Right.
So yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it.
Yeah, so Michael Tamartino says, we need the cool way, please. I guess you said you have a cool way. So that's pretty fantastic. So now, are you establishing a publishing house and that you're independently running? Because that's what it sounds like to me.
So you know, I own half Cowabunga Comics, and with my buddy Kyle Willis, and I also publish for Totally Rad right now, or I write for Totally Rad. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. But the cool thing is, at some point, it'll all be together.
Right.
And yeah, I've got a really cool project coming out that has a good friend of yours and a good friend of mine involved in it. So, you know, he'll be writing in that. And then there's, you know, we picked up Chuck Pinot not long ago. Chuck Pinot's on our team. If you guys follow me on Facebook, which is super cool, I add just about everybody because I'm ridiculous like that.
Right.
But you guys can see we add people all the time. You know, we just added JT Malloy, we added Brian Silverbacks, Mog Park, whole bunch of really, really cool Envu, really, really cool folks that are just, and you just keep building, right? It's like when you go to the draft, you know,
Right.
Everybody's picking their team and whatnot. But you got people that are now going, they're holding up little signs. They're like, hey, pick me. Look, we want to be on your team.
Right.
You know, this is a book we want to be involved in, which is really cool. We're also currently putting out a screenplay for a film. So all these things have to be taken care of by the end of the year for me to continue in the direction that I want to. Legally, the stuff is already going now. I just have to make sure everything is totally encompassed and taken care of. And I've learned as I'm doing this that it's not hard to differentiate your titles.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, just want to shout out to Nerds at the Round in the chat. What's up, homeboys? So yeah, I mean, you know, I can see through the matrix, and I'm putting the pieces together as you're talking, and I'm very mindful of your reaction. So I'm not gonna prod too much on your future goals. Yeah, so I don't want to put you in the hot seat. So let's talk about, you know, because you were on our show when you first introduced Greed. And so you're anniversarying this year, you're 1 year in the game, and there's a major difference between the launch of Greed and the launch of this. So let's talk about this, what you've learned in between, and what made the difference with this campaign.
So I did something that with Greed that was cool, but at the time, and it, like I said, I'm doing better every book. If you look at my campaigns, they're consistently getting better. Even if it's only $200, $300, $400, whatever, they're consistently getting better.
Right.
And with Greed, I came into this mentality. I was like, man, I really want to do this type of edition, you know, and it did well. It was well received. But this was, I wanted so bad just to give, like, I keep a lot of secrets in the Listener and Greed, right? Like, it's real deep writing. Like, it's, and I'm like trying to lie to my own characters and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, shut up, dude, don't tell everything, you know? And it's, but when you get over to BGD, I wanted it to all be on the table. Like, I really wanted, you know, when Babes, Gore, and Dinosaurs, you know, people are like, what's in a title? Everything is in the title. Every little bit of it is right there. And the thing I did with Greed was I made it, I have a kid and his monster under the bed, even though it's a mature title and it's dark and it's wild and whatnot. Everybody thought it was a kid's book because of some of the covers. Some of the covers are super animated. You know, they really are. And they're fun, right? They're really fun covers. And I didn't look at that as like a faux pas or a flaw on my part. I just thought the characters were great, and that's was a good way to show them, you know? So when we came into this, I was like, I don't want to be, I already do niche books. You know what I mean? I do niche books. That's where I write. And this though was like, who doesn't like dinosaurs, right? Who doesn't like pretty ladies? Who doesn't like action adventure? You know what I mean? And when I talked to Jim about it, he was like, well, bring over your team of artists and we'll add this team of artists to it, and we'll bring out these banger covers, right? And I was like, okay, you know, so I got introduced to these awesome folks, but at the same time, I think people can relate more to this series. The people that realize it's not porn after they look at the covers and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? It's a, like I said, it's nostalgia, you know, whereas the Listener is very, you know, cerebral, you know, and not everybody likes to read like that. Right. You know, some people like to just be able to jump in, see the action, see what's going on, and then walk out. Right. You know what I'm saying? They don't need the sequel to enjoy what they've seen. And I'm trying with this series to give you enough to enjoy it every issue. You know what I mean? If you didn't read the first 2 issues of BGD, you know, you go to read the third, you'll be able to enjoy it just like you had read the first 2. Right. You know, I think we got the best review we've gotten so far was they called it a tour de force in indie comics. And that blew my mind. Nice. Well, one thing that we did that we'd never done is we did promo books. Like I printed the first 8 pages and put them out at MegaCon, and we sold out of them in 2 days. Wow. You know, and it was really, really cool. It was well received. People were coming back asking us what was going on next and so on and so forth. And it was fun. It was exciting, you know, and I think that may be one of the things that we're giving people something that's easier to chew in a smaller time period. Right. You know?
Yeah, so we have Michael San Martino says, wait, it's not porn? I'm out.
I mean, it is what it is. You know what
There's
I
a
mean?
wise guy. So that was one thing that you did differently. You did the promo books, and obviously it was well received, and you're getting great feedback from critics. What else do you think attributed to your success in your upcoming and your future campaigns?
I think that when you treat your team well, okay, even if they're new members, when you treat your team well, it's well received in the community, right? So when it comes to artists, they work a lot, yourself included. They work a lot, and trying to get folks to advocate for projects is not the easiest thing in the world. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So we started looking at that and going, okay, well, we're only going to bring on folks that want the push and want to strengthen themselves. Because if you're getting a paycheck every month, you know, you should want to succeed as well as anybody else.
Yes.
So you cultivate the like-minded individuals, and eventually you have this team that is just as invested in your product because it's their product too. Right. You know, and I think that's very important. You know, we've started to do that. We've pushed into that, and it's received really well. One thing that we did this time that was wild is we put out like 19 covers.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know that I'm gonna be doing that again, but you know.
Yeah, I hear you, brother, because I felt the same way with the last Kickstarter with Forbidden. I was like, this is too many damn covers. I had to set all that to print. I was like, no more. That's it. I'm sticking to two. Yeah. A main and a variant, and I'm good.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? That's a lot of covers. Yeah. But at the same time, we were bringing on talent that people. So a great example was when we brought on Marissa Pope for The Listener. It was one of the first books she'd done, you know, and it was really, really cool. And people loved her artwork, right? So I immediately knew, oh, man, and she was my friend and whatnot. So I was like, bring her on for book 2, bring her on for book 3 of The Listener, and she'll continue to do The Listener, you know. So I looked around for incredible talent that was new, you know, and we got some really, really cool, talented folks, man. Like Jen Leonard, great artist. She's got that really cool Dennis Nedry gender bender cover for us. I think it's cover B and C. But anyway, she lives a couple hours up the road from us, and we've done shows with her already and stuff. And all of a sudden, boom, she's signed with Zenescope and doing stuff for Zenescope, and you know, for like 3 other companies. And it's just, you know, it's really, really cool. And like I said, it all goes back to how you treat folks. So if I continue to be good to people, regardless of how an individual treats me, in the long run, it's going to pay off. And that's how I look at it. Absolutely.
So Nerds at Around saying 3 facts that you pointed out, and Michael San Martino 19 covers. Wow. Yeah, no, that's I think there's a couple of people that I know that went a little extra with the covers. You and Russell Philip Russert. Yeah. I mean, I was like, what the hell? Are you guys trying to get the Guinness Book of World Records?
Well, it's like a that's a totally rad thing.
No, it's dope. It's dope, but it's I know.
I mean, the publishing company, Totally Rad. It's a totally rad thing.
Okay.
Like, so like when I started talking about covers, Jim was like, "You need more." You know what I mean? Put out more covers, and I was like, "All right, you know, whatever." I mean, the guy's real successful, so I was like, "Cool, you know, whatever." Teach me, senpai. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know that I need that many, but I'll say this: each of them did very well.
Nice.
Each of them. I didn't have any cover that didn't hang out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was really cool near the end of this campaign. Our buddy David Fott, who's in the hospital, he had cancer. He'd been wanting to put a cover out for this book, you know, so he managed to, you know, we weren't rushing him. We were like, hey, hold on, bro. You really don't have to put this out yet. Right. You know what I mean? Hang tight. And we ended up getting one from him, and we put it on there. It was really cool.
Wow.
You know, he's a great guy. So, yeah, that was really, really cool. I think that was one of like my high points in this campaign was getting to see somebody that wanted to put out covers, you know, for us specifically, get to do so, because he had already got to read the script and see some cool stuff. So he was like, man, I really want to do that. Right. He's also got a cover coming out for Greed in like a month and a half. So
nice. Nice. So
Yeah.
now I know that when we first met, you were using a third party. Did you nix using a third party for your future campaigns, and you went solo with your company, or are you still using another source?
So I I'm learning a lot in that regard. You know what I'm saying? I've learned that using a third party didn't help me.
Right.
I made as much as I had before, and then I made as much after.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that being said, I grabbed a third party midway through this campaign, but it wasn't for the third party aspect of it. It was because it takes more than one person to build an empire, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree 100%.
Yeah. So it was like, hey, look, I don't need this and this. I need this.
Right.
You know, and it was nice to see them come in and, you know, start showing their stuff off and being able to put some stuff out. Meredith and Nita are incredible people. So bringing them on was awesome. You know, they're great friends. They look out for me for sure.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
And they have an
100%.
amazing camaraderie.
For sure. So taking it that much further with them is incredible to me, and to be able to show, for them to be able to show their talents off in other ways. You know, Meredith's an incredible writer. So you guys will probably see some stuff coming from Meredith from me. So we'll see.
Right.
George is doing something fun with me. So there's a lot going on, man. I'm grateful. Like I said, I'm learning. I walked into this and I was quiet, right? And this is the best way I can put this. We talked about it the other night on a live show. I came in real quiet. I came in with my head down because I was scared. I didn't know anything about this industry. Not that I was scared of the people or anything like that. I was scared of the world itself of this industry because it's so large. I've been selling books for 10 years. You know, I was like, man, that's really big, you know, to try to step into these shoes and whatnot.
Right.
And tired of being quiet, brother. Tired of being quiet.
Yeah, I mean, I think, unfortunately, in this noisy environment, you have to shout at the top of your lungs to get noticed,
For sure.
and because you're in an ocean that's just filled, and it's standing room only, so they think that's gonna make or break any independent coming in. Number one, you have to have a thick skin.
Yeah, for sure.
Number two, you have to have the endurance and the stamina to see it through from start to finish.
Absolutely.
And number three, you got to be able to you got to fight for your piece of the pie, because everyone wants
For
that
sure.
slice, And
Well, you got to bring the originality, and you guys
Yeah.
do it. You guys bring your story is so cool and it's so much fun. You've been doing this for a long time. You got a lot to be proud of, and so there are certain people that I look up to because I'm like, man, y'all are doing it, And when I started, when I first talked to y'all, I was so just blown away by the stuff that you guys were doing, how long you've been doing it, and I've grown. Having spoken to you guys and met other people, like-minded individuals and stuff, I've grown in such a way that it isn't like I feel like I just need to get by anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now it's like, cool, look, all my books are original. Come hang out. Read them. You'll dig them. My thing with people is this. I've doubled, if not, I have doubled my normal amount of backers with this particular project. And it's like, if you look into indie comic books, one of the most prevalent things I think is originality.
Yep.
Okay. Don't bring me a Superman book. You know what I mean? We've got Superman. Then we got the Sentry. Don't bring me a Punisher book. You know what I mean? Bring me something original. Give me something new, something that's interesting. I mean, I'm almost 36 years old. Been reading comic books for almost that length of time.
Right.
Since I could read, that was my jam. And
Right.
It's like, I've seen it. That's what's cool about indies. You shouldn't have seen it. There shouldn't be any, I've seen it.
Right.
So now when I come into a room, now the fun part is, hey, it's the guy that does dinosaur boobs. You know what I mean? Cool. Look, man, if that's all you get from it, great. Because the art's beautiful. It's
Right.
beautiful. It's empowering to women. You know what I mean? There are all kinds of really cool aspects to it. The majority of my team is female. You know what I mean? It's a very powerful aspect. But if that's all you get, great. But I promise there's more to it. I promise. If you can get past those pretty covers, you know what I mean?
Right.
There's a lot of good stuff to see.
I don't know. Most of the American Pie readers are going to be sticking on the cover for a little bit. But,
I'm okay with it.
Yes.
You know, hey, man, look, you got your copy. Do what you do with it.
There you go. But Michael San Martino says, imagine a collector who needs all of the covers. You single-handedly bankrupt them. So Jonathan said, my brother from another mother just said the word dope. Definitely an 80s baby. Word to Big Bird. And Michael San Martino says, all I hear is that there is a soon-to-be crossover event with dinosaurs and Forbidden. Look at that.
Hey, man. Look here. Look, I have a really cool costume. I'll pitch it to you while we're sitting here, and that's how fast it comes.
Right.
And I'll say this: a lot of people, what people do is they go in and they second guess their ideas.
Right.
Stop second guessing your ideas. The first one is the best one you're going to come up with,
right.
Even if you have to tweak it later. Like right now, I'm like, cool, look, man. How about I've got a VR unit, like a store right down the road from the bar in my book. All right. Who's to say that they don't go use the VR and they find this game called Forbidden and they're all about it?
Look at that.
And that's how they're there. You know what I mean? They're literally there. It's real life to everybody there, but to them, it's something different. You know what I mean? There are a million ways that you can cross over and do a lot of fun stuff.
Look at him sneaking that into the cup.
Yeah.
He dropped the blue pill.
I'll lay it on folks with quickness. So
Rambo Furbies. That's what the nerd said.
That's right. There's also with this, when you go into it with this type of mentality and you do something out of the box like this, there's always going to be naysayers.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's always going to be the people that try to beat it up.
Right.
I've had the furry conversation more times than I've ever had in my life, and I didn't even know what that was till a year ago. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's literally like, cool, look, man, if you're a fan of Ninja Turtles, you'll dig it. If you're a fan of Street Sharks, you're going to dig it. If you thought Lola Bunny was hot, you're probably going to dig it. You know what I mean? There are all these little nuances. And even if you didn't think Lola Bunny was hot, there's human chicks in my book all day, I promise. Another fun part about it is, we have embraced so many different aspects to this lifestyle.
Right.
Like I said, this is one small step into this, what we're creating right now. I literally have just pulled together 4 whole teams in 3 weeks for something coming out in December.
Wow.
So it's
beast mode,
bro. It's work, but at the same time, it's like you don't get anywhere if you don't, right?
Right, exactly. So let's see. We got Michael San Martino says a good He-Man show at Nerds, and the Nerds. Yep, you gotta beat the naysayers down until they are your fans. There you go. Because it's always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be trolls. They're always going to be there, and until they realize that no one's listening. You know what I'm saying? Is let them talk, and just keep doing what you need to do, and the rest of the world will either line up and say, you know what, much props to you. You're doing your thing. My bad. I don't know what I was tripping for a minute. Or they're going to say, it's just not my thing. I'm going to move on. I'm going to stop hassling you. So,
for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, let's see, laughing my ass off. Like Michael, these guys are acting up. San Martino, I raise you, He-Man, by the guys that did Thundercats Roar. Nice. All right. So you have another project in December. When's the next Greed coming out?
So you got Greed coming out in a month and a half. You get the next issue of Greed.
Nice.
And so then you've got...
And you're going to launch that on Kickstarter?
Yep. Okay. We're also starting to use Indiegogo because I've learned that there's a different market for that. I've been watching you guys and stuff. I've never used it. Yeah. I did for like a day and a half, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not with that all. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we're gonna get into that. But I think So like right now, the way we do things is we drop a book literally every month and a half.
Right.
This is how we drop a book. And so we've got this, BGD coming out. So my release schedule now is Greed in a month and a half. Then you got the trade paperback for the listener, which is 1 through 3 coming out. Then you've got my project in December. And then you're back to BGD at the end of January. And then we're into the listener again at the beginning of March. So
nice, yes.
Yeah,
I mean, you're gonna be busy, dude.
Bro, I'm already. That's why I had to bring in more people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get exhausted with just what I do, and I'm only doing 4 a year. I think this year we're only doing 4 campaigns a year. You're doing like one every other day.
Yeah. So like right now, we've already got reviews back from the second issue of BGD, and they're calling it Naked Dinosaur meets John Wick.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun because I had a conversation with my artists, and oh my gosh, I'm not normally speechless, but Nita hit me the other day, and so I had to give the ladies a good time. If we're gonna do the dudes right, we gotta do the ladies right, So issue 2 is gonna be fun. I'm excited about it. They're already Joe's Bladen's already starting to get into that and whatnot. And so Greed's coming out. We're introducing Lilith next month. Get some adult covers on that one because of what it is.
Yeah, so these guys are acting up. I swear I'm going to take you guys out 3:00 schoolyard, and it's going to be on. So it's Nerds Around says, I love the guy that did those guys rule Powerhouse Studios. I don't know. You might know what that means. Let's see. Also recommend The Witcher on Netflix. He's talking to San Martino. He said, sold me on the Naked Dinosaur, and San Martino saying, Sam, he's talking about you. He is no brokepreneur, See, I'm going to bust him up. And so they're acting up.
Hey, man, but that's good. You have these fans that are like, fans make such a difference, bro. They really, really do. Like I had not realized the depth of how awesome fans were until we were in a show in Nashville at the beginning of the year. It was the first show since COVID, and it was a Star Wars show, right? So I love Star Wars and whatnot. So I'm hanging out and I'm talking to everybody, and all of a sudden I realize I'm the only comic book vendor in the entire show. And it was like they put me in between these tops artists, the collectible cards tops. They put me between these tops artists for Star Wars. And I'm sitting there and I'm cutting up with these dudes. And this cat walks up and he's like, oh my God, you have book 2. And I was like, what? I was like, yeah, I got book 2. And he runs off. And I'm like, what happened just then? And he comes back with his wife. And it's like, dude, it's the guy that writes the listener. We picked that up on Kickstarter. And I'm like, the world is so small.
That's fantastic,
this
bro.
Came in and was like,
that is awesome.
He was like, I need to get a set and I'll sign it. And you laugh. The fun thing about he one of the viewers talked about just a minute ago was the fact that you make people broke by buying their covers. The last issue of the listener, I sold 4 sets of every cover of the listener. And same thing, BGD's already got one set sold. One thing that I do,
and that's 19 like that, set as in 19 covers. 19 covers,
yeah. Wow. So, but one thing that I do for stuff like that is a bunch of those end up being free. You know what I mean? There's the way you look at it. We break it down to the point where it's like it's well worth what you paid for. You know what I mean? Even if you only say there's a lot of people in the market for stuff like that are the guys that are buying to get them signed. They're buying to take them and flip them, and we understand that. You know what I mean? That's the market. You know, especially when you bring on certain artists. That's you're walking into that type of market.
Right. So Raging is in the house. They're saying, "What's up? What's up, ladies?"
Oh, we were just talking about you.
Yeah, we're just talking about you. Your ears must have been burning. And let's see, Nerds on vendor to rule. Oh, he must have been one vendor. It says on one vendor to rule them all. Yeah, fans are awesome. And Michael Santino, I can't find a fan emoji. And Jonathan says, shout out to Michael in the house. And then I got some shades. But yeah, so you got, the good thing about it, these guys that are in the chat are all talent. They're all industry guys, indie guys, and we just have great camaraderie. And Nerds, they got their own show, and they've been on the show. San Martino's going to be on the show October 6th. Johnny's my road dog.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to catch it, man. I enjoy watching people talk about their own stuff because everybody, like, I'm still like, as much as I've done, I'm still like the young buck that came in. You know what I mean?
But
And I
yeah, but
understand
yeah,
that.
you're the guy that came out of left field. I mean, like
Right. And I'm
everyone's stretching on the track, and we're all doing a warm ups, and next you can. Where do you come from?
yeah. And it's fun though, because it's like I've watched people be like, you just like any other job, right?
Right.
When you come in, you have to pay respects to the guys that are seniors in any type of position, you know? And I love seeing the cats that have been doing it, that have got the tips, the tricks, the little things. Hey, pack up 10 minutes early the last day of the show. You know what I mean? So you're not the guy that's stuck in 2 hours with the traffic trying to get out. You know what I mean? Or, these little nuances. Hey, take wagons, or hey, make sure you take enough water so you don't have to pay $6 a bottle at a show. You know what I'm saying? All these little things. And it's cool to watch guys that have their own form of selling like that. Like Henri. Henri's a really cool guy, man. And to see his way of doing things. Like I sat and watched him at MegaCon the other day. And it was mad funny because we were going to dinner that night, and I was like, I'm going to watch this dude and I'm going to see what he does. Because the way he sets his stuff up is totally different than me.
Right.
Like his booth, his whole setup's different than mine, right? So he's standing the entire time, which, that commands respect anyway, because you're standing there talking people eye to eye and they're not coming to your table. You're literally pitching to people face to face, and which takes a lot of respect.
Right.
But it was like, man, I never stopped talking. And I was so like enthralled by what he was doing. And I told him that night, I was like, man, it just blew my mind to watch you like do this. So I think that as long as we're respectful, it doesn't matter how we could be doing better than anybody. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who you're doing better than or who's doing better than you. It doesn't really matter. As long as you have that respect level that you can come in and be like, hey, look, I know you guys are here before me. Thanks for having me at the table.
Yeah.
And that's how we view it. And my whole team views it like that. I had real bad imposter syndrome forever. When I first came in, I had it terrible. Now I'm like, cool, look, where's my spot? You know what I mean? Like, where's my seat at?
Yeah, and I think it comes with anything you do. I think in the beginning when you're stepping into an arena, if you don't have the jitters and the nerves, something's wrong with you. And if you don't doubt yourself and second guess every decision until you start feeling and getting that momentum. And I think watching your evolution was pretty fascinating because each time I seen how you evolved and your business matured, and you got to this point, and it's the sky's the limit with what you're doing. I mean, I said it before, you're on beast mode, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Well, I'm very thankful, and that's the first thing to understand when it comes to me as a person. I mean, you've talked to me numerous times. I'm just very thankful, and it started to become things that other people saw, right? People would be like, man, you're doing really well. Man, you're doing really well. But you, as that person that's elbows deep in what's going on, you don't get to see what other people do. And recently, thanks to Meredith, Nita, and numerous other team members of mine, I have got to, and other people, fans even, it's gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, well, I can play now, right? Like I'm a player. Like I don't have to hang out in the minors forever anymore. You know what I mean? Right. I'm a player now. And with BGD, it was something that was going to be fun, and it was going to be, outside of my normal scope of writing, and just something that we could really enjoy as a whole. Like I could take it to anybody that read comic books and they'd be like, man, that's awesome. Doesn't matter what kind of comic book they like to read. I've built something here, and I've written something, and I've built this team together that could make almost anyone enjoy it. If you have that nostalgia factor,
right?
Because it is very, like I said, cyberpunk, big buildings, high rises, crazy neon lights and whatnot, and strippers. So, but it's to this point though where it's like, cool, look, we're here, we're not going anywhere. We're going to keep showing you guys our books. We're going to keep showing off our talents, and we're just going to get better at it. It's just because I don't have a choice. You know what I'm saying? Like if you purchase from me, you guys already know my book's already done. before they come to Kickstarter.
Right.
So everybody can back with confidence because the book's already done.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And like, I'm that guy that has a coronary if my printer is like a day late. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. You don't know the kind of F-bombs I drop when I don't get when they're like, what do you mean? I sent it to you 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Where's my stuff?
Yeah.
So I have this new mentality now, and I can definitely give it out. That would help anybody. If your stuff is done beforehand, I'm starting to send my stuff to the printer beforehand.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not, I know that 2-week time period can suck when you're waiting to get that money and whatnot, especially if you've paid for it ahead of time, so you're like, oh man.
Yeah, Kickstarter takes a while.
Yeah. Let me get the cash to pay the printer. But at the same time, if you're a person of your word, and like I said, it all goes back to how you treat people.
Yep.
If you can get your stuff printed and then get them the money as soon as it comes to you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now your books are en route. I just saw Michaels did it. He just posted something. He's an amazing dude, man. And he's like, hey, look, we're at 85% printed or whatever, and we'll have everything out in 2 weeks. But your Kickstarter just ended like a week and a half ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I strive to get, it's also part of my marketing. I strive to have books hitting your house the same time my campaigns are starting. So you're like, oh man, it's really good. Oh, look, and we also put an ad in the back of our book for the next book that's dropping.
Yeah.
So it's
makes
like,
a difference. Yes.
Here it is. It's coming out this date. I just saw that. Now it's right in front of me. That's, you know what I mean? It's marketing. It's smart marketing. We've got a great team, like I said, and, great story. So I think that my one thing that I could give back to creators right now, don't be afraid of that mentality that they're only buying for the cover, because we live in that world right now. The cover is king.
Right.
And,
right. It's eye candy.
Absolutely. So, but if you get the artists that do your characters well enough and make it interesting, now they want to open it. Now we're interested. What's going on the interior? And that's where you get to shine, so make sure you write it like it's the last book you're putting out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest thing, and kudos to you, because I think one of the, independents have always historically had a bad rap, and crowdfunding is such a bonus for the indie community. And then when you have the indies that bite off more than they can chew, or don't fulfill their obligations, and people are waiting around for months and months and months and months and not getting their stuff, it does a disservice to all of us. So when you have someone like you who's, going to be a year doing this, and you've been consistently changing the narrative, that helps reinforce people's belief that there is still something there with the indie community, because it's a tough game.
Oh, absolutely. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I joked. We one of the biggest things I tell people, because we get it a lot now, and it's cool. It's very flattering and it's awesome, because we get a lot of folks that are just coming in that are like, hey, how do we get to this point? What do we do next? I'll tell you this, man. The first thing that I came into, and it still holds true to this day, have pockets. Have pockets when you're coming to play the game. Yeah. It's like going to Vegas, man. You know what I mean? Have pockets, because if you don't, you're not going to be there long.
And we're not talking about hot pockets, Johnny.
Right. Right, absolutely. They're great too. Just don't burn your mouth and whatnot.
No. My sister gave me some hot pockets that just hurt my belly. I was like, no, I don't want it anymore. Yeah. But but yeah, exactly. I think you have to have a game plan, and you have to have like a fail-safe mechanism. You have to be able to be prepared for the stuff that are going to sneak up on you that you just can't plan for.
Right on. And absolutely. Your artist leaves or something. That hasn't happened to me. I'm thankful, but I've seen it. You know what I mean? The artist leaves halfway through, or you don't have a printer anymore, or you can't figure out how to do this or figure out how to do that because somebody's left. I'll say this, Kyle Willis has been my friend for a long time. And one of the things he told me, he said, I don't want to pay people when I can learn how to do something. And if you can steadily teach yourself little nuances in this industry, just a little bit, like take an hour every couple days to just teach yourself something. Like even Photoshop's cheap nowadays. So teach yourself a little bit of something, learn how to drop some letters on the cover, learn a size of covers, do what you need to do to constantly be prepared in case you lose X, Y, or Z.
Right.
You know, you've always got a fail safe for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you have a captivated audience. You killed it on Kickstarter. You're down to the last a little under 30 hours. What's the pitch? Give us the pitch.
So it's babes, gore, and dinosaurs, right? I mean, it's like I said, it's all in the title. But that is also part of the magic of it, because
Right.
there's so much more. When you open it, it's just like the art's great, the story's good, you know, holy shit, somebody just got ate, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's, you know, it's very surreal. You know, like if you were a fan of Schwarzenegger movies, or you were a fan of anything, you know, Die Hard or anything like that, you'll really enjoy this. You know,
Right.
I could put this with like an 80s soundtrack and it would be like the greatest shit ever, you know, because it's that. It
Right.
is, it is awesome. It is unlike anything else you're going to read right now. And this is the first time I've been confident enough to tell you there's nothing like this on the market. You know, The Listener was one thing, Greed was another thing altogether. Nothing like those because of spirituality. This is a story unlike anything you're getting right now. And that's important. And if you don't like it, we'll have a conversation about it. But I'm willing to bet you guys, you feel it, man.
Right. Outstanding. And if you haven't noticed, guys, the link is in the summary. It's also in the chat, and I'm going to put it in again right now in the chat in case you missed it the first time. It's called Babes, Gore, and Dinosaurs, and this man is killing it out there. And so if you're watching right now and you like this episode, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. If you're listening to us on Twitter or Facebook, and you know while you're working, don't forget to come over to the YouTube channel and help us grow this channel, because the more people that subscribe to the show, the more the reach is for creatives like Dustin on the show. And we want to expand our reach so that way when we get them on the show, it just makes sense. So the end game, so you're working on a screenplay, you have 7 titles in the pipeline, you're planning on taking over the world. What's your 2022? So we know how you want to end 2021. How do you want to end 2022?
So when we came into we started at the end of 2020, right? That's when I started. I didn't know what was going on, but at the time I wanted to have 4 books out by the end of 2021. That was my goal. 4 issues of The Listener. That was my goal, you know. So since that time period, we've been offered twice to have our IPs purchased. We've been a cartoon was talked about. You know, there's been a lot of things going on. Now we're writing, you know, a screenplay. We're doing all this other stuff. So the end of next year, I'd like to double the amount of stores we're in. I'd like to be at 10 stores. And people are like, oh yeah, 10 stores is easy. Okay, well, check it out. My stores, most of them aren't even in this country. You know what I mean? So I'm all over the world right now. I sell more books out of the country than in the country. So my goal is to get more local sales.
Nice.
And I love being global, you know, and I really do. But I would love to be able to sell my books here, you know, instead of like next year we're supposed to be going to Africa for a book signing. You know what I mean? So I'm stoked about that.
Say what? You need a bodyguard?
Yeah. Hey, bro. Hey,
you know, I did security for 20 years. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I'm with you. There's just a lot of really cool stuff going on. So, you know, the end of 2022, man, I'd really like to be able to go, hey, look, I hope I'm in a position to publish like I want to publish.
Right.
You know, like, you know, talking about being a publishing house like Marvel, DC, and whatnot. I had a real heavy name in the game tell me that that's the direction that I just need to keep pushing in. And I think we can get there. I think I can get there by the end of 2022 with the team we have.
Yeah, flip the word.
I really think we can.
No, flip the word. No. Eliminate think.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You know you can. You got this.
Yeah, for sure. I believe
you got
with all
this.
my heart we can be.
Yes.
because we've shown that we can. If my confidence level just needs to keep raising with everything else we're doing.
You got it. You're doing the right thing. I mean, and you said it before, and it's about, taking care of the people that you work with, having mutual respect for others, having a solid plan in place, and understanding timelines, patience, and consistency. And you have all that. So I think, with all those ingredients, man, you're gonna make an amazing souffle. So we have Raging saying world domination, blah, right?
Oh,
And yeah, and we got Jim Tanner joined us. What's up, Jim? And we got let's see, we have Michael San Martino. Do I need all the variant covers to understand the story? The answer is yes. Yes, buy all the variants. There you go. There you go.
For sure. All the variants.
Yes, and JT is saying checking out the show. Thanks for joining, JT. No, I mean, again, we've had so many, we've had hundreds of independents on our show.
For sure.
And and everyone's in a different place in the spectrum.
Right.
And what I've seen about you is that you adjust quickly. You even when you're faced with adversity or maybe a decision that wasn't the right decision at the time, what I've noticed about you, you're able to bounce back quickly. You take the lesson from it and you move on. And he says, all right, I'm not going to repeat that, but this is what I learned about this, so I'm going to apply this here. And so because of that, because you're pliable, and and you're adaptable, those are the things that you need in this game, in any game when you're trying to be an entrepreneur and you're trying to build an empire. So for me, the word think leaves a 50% failure rate. That's why I say flip it to no, because you know in your gut you're doing the right things.
For sure. There's a, like I said, when I earlier said it, and I'm trying to say it to myself almost like a mantra anymore. We're not being quiet anymore. Now we're going to be loud. Now everybody's going to see us. You're going to know. I think my biggest goal for this first quarter is to double the amount of people that know my name.
Say my name.
Absolutely.
There you go.
It's very and it is so doable.
Right.
It's so doable, and I feel like if you keep your goals doable, and you just keep doing the goals that you can meet, and just keep moving up, steadily. You don't have to, I'm not saying it's different for everybody, like you just said. It's different for everyone. You don't have to jump like I jumped, but at the same time, just continually move. Right. Just continually move. They say, if sharks quit moving, they quit swimming, they drown because there's no more water moving through their gills, and I'm like, cool, look, I'll be a shark. I'll keep moving. You're going to see me coming. Now I'm be the neon shark, right? Now I'm not going to be the quiet shark over here that's just trying to be not eaten by somebody. Don't try to eat me. Right. You know what I mean? The school is big, and there's some bigger cats than me in my own school. So, let's just all get to where we want to be at. Give amazing product to folks, and I think that more and more people are going to notice. I know we're going to gain fans. Fans is different than the other people, like being asking to write a screenplay for a film. You know what I mean? That's
another level,
bro. It was overwhelming at first. Not gonna lie, I about fell out. I was like, did they get the right email? Is that supposed to be to me? Right. So it was cool. And then I just need to get into a place where I can protect all of that.
Right. Yeah. So we got the comedian up there saying baby shark. I'm not singing baby shark for you. All right. All right. I'm not doing it. And thank you, Raging, for telling him no. Yes. I got a limit. I got a rep to protect. But it's crazy. No, that it's exciting, and I think really, really impressed by your journey, and it's great to see. That's why when there's a lot of people that have been hitting us up since, but the move has put me on pause. But we've already had shows already in the pipeline. So when I saw your email, I was like, oh. dang. And I was like, you know what? And I looked at your campaign. I said, oh, he's down. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go online just for you.
Man, I'm so thankful. You guys were one of the first people when I put out my second book that were like, hey, look, you gave me confidence in what I was doing. Because like I said, when you see these cats that have been doing it for longer than you, it's almost like, you know, you're the young kid that went out to the baseball field and somebody came out and signed a baseball for you, right? You're like, holy cow, you know, that's just the coolest thing ever.
Right.
You know, and then the same cats, then you know, months down the road, they're like, they're speaking to you like they're on your level, you know what I mean? And they feel what you got going on. And then now it's like, okay, we're equals now. Now we're not just looking, you know, we're talking to you a little bit like, you know, when you first start out there, people are like, they're not purposely talking down to you, but they're like, hey, look, here's how it really works. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you're like, oh man, that's so cool. I appreciate you taking the time. Like you run home to mom and dad, dude, he was talking to me, you know, and it was so cool. And I sat next to so-and-so on the bus and it was just bananas. So, you know, but now it's like, cool, look, we're here and we can break bread and we can talk. And I can be eternally grateful for the kindnesses you guys have shown me. But I can also go, look, I know I can sit with you. You know what I mean? And it's such an epic thing, you know, going from not knowing where I would be to now having a set plan and knowing where I'm going to be, you know, because when you start pitching books for $5,000 to $7,000 in production every month, it gets to be like, hey, look, it's either going to work or it's not, you know? So when people start feeling it, it gets to be this point where you're like, cool, I'm where I'm at. I'm where I'm supposed to be. Yep. We're going to be here and we're going to be accepted for who we are, you know, headlining shows, you know, stuff like that in less than a year. I'm not trying to toot horns, but it feels good. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I can sit in the artist alley now next to so-and-so and so-and-so, and I can do this and I can go over here and holy cow, my name's on this thing over here. Yeah. Cool. What's up?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and it's, we all go through that. We all go through that. I mean, when we broke in the game, and I remember when we met our first Comic Con, it was our first breakout show, and Brian Polito spent an hour just giving us the skinny on everything. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Right? I'm looking at George. We're pitching each other like we're giddy, like schoolgirls in the yard, like he, right? But it was awesome, right? You know, so, you know, I mean, you're doing a lot of great things, and you're working with a lot of great people, which is awesome. Yeah, I know it's stuck in my head too. You know, I was like, I'm gonna be singing that in my sleep. Yeah. But it says, so when Dustin said a big shark, all I got was that song stuck in my head. I had to share it. The wealth. Yeah,
for sure. Well, we're all gonna be singing it now.
Yeah, so. I know. It's like, you know, I got the remix in my head too. But yeah, so I'm excited. I can't wait. You know, we gotta have you back on in December for this new big project, and you know, I think your Greed is coming out in what is it, October or November?
We're dropping it because it'll be November that it drops.
Yeah, nice.
So end of October. Yeah, because my birthday is the 27th, and that's the year anniversary for us.
Oh, nice.
Of our first production. So yeah, it'll probably be it'll be the weekend of the 27th that we drop the next one.
Outstanding.
And that is almost done. So you guys, once again, back confidence, because we're already killing that right now. And I'm going to put together a cool package for you guys, because I was telling my wife that you guys were going to have me on the show tonight. And she was like, how dope is that? Because we all know you moved and it's been so crazy. She was like, man, you got to put him together like a welcome to the new house comic package. And I was like, yes, we need to do this.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do a Greed crazy pinup crossover pinup for you. You can add as a stretch goal. That's on me. Sure. And so I think that's
cross promote, man.
Yes. Now that I'm back into the swing of things and my studio set up, I can draw more. Sure. And so I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you, brother. Thank you for coming on. Thank you, everybody out there, Raging Cajun, Jim Tanner, Michael Sammartino, Jay Syfax, Nerds of the Round. Thank you all for joining us tonight. And remember, guys, You have Bade, Gore, and Dinosaur. Remember the name DB, Dustin Brunell, into his house. His beard is serious, just like this man. He is serious. Pledge today. He's got a little under 30 hours to go. This has been a great show. Thank you all for watching, and don't forget, Forbidden ends also. We're on the same timeline. What's going on here? Forbidden, the backup campaign, ends in less than 30 hours as well on Indiegogo. The link is in the chat. Don't forget that. And with that said, any final words, D?
Oh, man. Don't forget, somebody's always listening.
Somebody's always listening. There you go. There you go. So, I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and we are out.
It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy.
Acquiesce. No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. I meant
Say my name,
right? This is what you were thinking? Oh, my. He described me. He said, I'm the what?
Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.